We're talking about relationship and having a right understanding, a right perspective of relationship. Faith. We've heard about faith, such great faith, and ye of little faith. Just that word alone. And we've had these discussions with other people that, that there's blind faith, right? That we're having faith in a God that cannot be seen. And a lot of times people say, well, explain to me what faith is. And this is where I believe that we need to re-explain and re-examine faith. Faith is a relational word. In the Greek, in many cases where it talks about faith in Scripture, it's actually talking about trust. Putting your trust in something real. And that's kind of how we think about it. Putting that we believe that God is real even though we can't see Him, right? But faith is a relationship. It's a relational word. Trust. And I'm going to show you in Scripture, but I just want to explain what I'm talking about. Is a lot of times when we explain faith, we use something outside of relationship to give it perspective. Like for instance, I've heard it said a lot of times that, you have faith in that chair, that when you sit in it, it is going to hold you. When you get into an elevator and you press up, you have faith that the elevator is going to take you up. You have faith that the elevator is not going to mess up. It's not that those examples aren't true, but we're taking away the true idea of faith. Faith being a relationship, a relational word. Yeah, you could say that once you sit in the chair, you're having a relationship with that chair. In a sense, I guess you could go there, but I want to say that faith is relationship with a person, not a thing. And so to explain it to someone that says, explain to me faith. It's at that time where you can build relationship with that person and explain to them faith is trust. I have trust that you're not going to do me harm. I have trust in you that we can love one another. That brings in a relationship mindset, that we have relationship with God even though we can't see God. We have relationship with Him. So in a sense, if I'm sitting in front of someone and explaining to them faith, trust in them, I can also say that once I'm gone, I trust that you'll still like me. I'll trust that you still love me. And so in your perspective, even though you don't see me, you can still have relationship with me. That brings in a more endearing, more emotional type, because that's what faith is it's an emotion. It's an emotion of relationship with someone, not just a chair or an elevator, but an actual person. To put it in that perspective where they can get an understanding now that even when you're home by yourself, you can trust that if you need me, you can call me, that I will be there for you. Even though I may not be in your house, you can have that mind, you can have that heart that, you know what, I'm going to call that person. I'm in need of their help. And that is faith. That is trust. And just to show that, trust is not just an imaginary thing, we see this in Matthew chapter 8, verse 10. When Jesus heard it, he marveled and said to them that followed, verily I say unto you, I have not found so great a faith, no, not in Israel. found. Found is something that can be found, that can be touched, that can be felt and realized. In other words, not necessarily that you can touch, but it can be found. When you find a friend, you can't touch that, but you can feel it, you can sense it. And that's what that means. So, in a sense, we need to explain faith that way, that it's not something you can grasp. Like, we understand air, but yet we can't grasp air, but we know that it's there. We know that that's what gives us life, right? And so Jesus is saying that this person has trust in me. So great a faith, so great a trust in me. He had an understanding. This centurion soldier had an understanding in this. If you read up above, he's talking about that, if he gives direction to someone. The reason why is because the centurion soldier was born and raised as a soldier. And all the others that were under him were born and raised. So in a sense, they were raised with a mind and a heart that this was a family to work together cohesively. That when he said something, he trusts that they would do. And when they did it, they trusted him that he was giving them right direction. So let's rethink about faith. Let's think about how we explain faith to others now. Let's quit using a chair and outside things, and let's start to give that person faith, give that person trust, give them an understanding of how God intended it. That it was relationship. It's about relationship. We also think about whenever the disciples and stuff, they were in the boat and the storm came and they cried out to the Lord, "Don't you care for us?" And he said, "Ye of so little faith." It was that you don't have trust in me. You didn't believe what I said. It would be kind of like our children. If we're driving in a storm, would you not feel it to be kind of odd that your child would cry out and say, "Father, don't you care for me that we perish in this storm?" No, your son, your child, your daughter is sitting back there just living life, just doing things. Because why? Because they trust, they have faith that you're driving and that you're going to get them wherever you guys are going. When you take a trip and you say that we're going to grandma's house, grandpa's house, we're going to the grandparents' house, that child, your child, trust, they have faith that that's where you're going, that you're going to get them there no matter what. It's that relationship. That's what faith is relationship. It's trust. It's belief. And so just that very word in faith, if you go to the Greek and all that, you'll see in the concordance and all that those are all it. And they all point to it being a relational word, relationship. Not with a thing, but with someone. So our faith in God is trusting, believing in someone, not some imaginary thing. And just because you have a friend, you're not always going to see each other, but that friend can have faith, that friend can have trust that if he or she needs you, you will be there for them, even though you may not be present with them. So I just want to give you that to think about, to re-examine faith. It's a relationship. It's a relational word, not with a thing, but with someone. And And that's how we should explain it to those that say blind faith. Explain to me faith. Your faith is blind. They need to understand just like we need to understand. Faith is a relational word. It's not about a thing or science. It's about someone trusting, believing in them, whether they're present or absent. God bless you.